Hello, very warm welcome to day one of the Confident Creative free 5-day mini course for photographers. So today I'm going to be talking about how to bring more of you into your creative work, how to be more authentic. And I'm going to quote Oscar Wilde with this, who said that you must be yourself because everybody else is taken. The thing is, and the problem is with the photography industry, is that often we feel like we should be shooting just like everybody else does, and that we should be following trends, and if we don't, we're somehow wrong. And I just want to sort of remind you that this is totally untrue. It's okay to shoot things exactly the way you want to shoot them. I'm just going to put it out there because it really is. It can be tempting to shoot like everybody else because we know that's a safe path to take. We know that if we shoot the same poses, the same locations, use the same presets, we're onto a formula that we know is already working for people, but all you do is just produce more of the same. It's not different. And if you want to be recognized for your creative work, you want to win awards, you want to have a waiting list, you want to be sought after, you have to stand out. You have to make work that is unique to you. This means not following the herd. This takes a bit of courage, and this is really a piece that is all about mindset. So I'm going to talk in tomorrow's video, in day two's video, more about individual creative style and how to start developing your own look for your images. But today is more about how do you bring more of you to the table and make work that's really authentic to you, that is really something that is about your creative vision, not about the kind of work you think you should be making. This is about the work that you want to be making. So here are my 3 tips for bringing more of you to the table and how you can start to bring this into your work. Remember that when you bring you into your work, it makes it more interesting for people because it's more personal and you bring your own spin into it, and it starts to really help you connect in a deeper way with your audience, and it'll start to build a bit of a community of fans around your work and a community of people who kind of really are really interested in what you are doing. So tip number 1 is follow your creative passion. So I'm going to ask you to think about what would you do, what would you photograph anyway, even if you weren't being paid? Is it what you're already shooting? Chances are it's probably not. So what is it that you would do if you weren't being paid? Really give that some thought. What do you photograph for fun? So if you have a creative idea, which I'm sure you have lots of, what do you go and shoot? How do you shoot it? How do you light it? How do you edit it? What is it you photograph? And how can you bring more of that into your paid photography work that starts to put your unique spin on things? Why do you love photographing the things you love photographing so much? What's your big why? Why does photographing what you feel passionate about, what you feel called to photograph matter? Why does it matter to you? Because as soon as you start to get to grips with these little questions and you start to get in touch with what really motivates you to make work, you can start to direct your career in more of a path that ticks those boxes and lights you up. I have been a professional photographer for 16 years now, and I spent quite a lot of it being a bit of a camera for hire, shooting events, shooting parties, shooting weddings, which I don't shoot anymore at all, totally retired from that because I absolutely hated it. But it's one thing I kind of started doing because it sort of seems like, well, that's how everybody else becomes a photographer. They shoot weddings, and it's just simply not true. You can build a business around whatever it is you love photographing. So I'm just going to put that out there for you. Point number 2 is enthusiasm is contagious. Pass that on. It's very difficult to get enthusiastic about something that you literally have no interest in photographing at all. And fellow people, the other beings that we share this planet with, are very attracted to passion and enthusiasm, and we are very attracted to people who really authentically share their work in passionately. So you're going to do this by talking about your work. You're going to share it with people. And it involves a little bit of vulnerability. And that doesn't mean sitting on Instagram crying. It doesn't mean sharing your deepest, darkest secrets. It just means sharing a little bit about your why, about why you make the work you do. What's the reason behind it? Often we might have something that's happened in our lives that really drives us to document things. You might have something that you're particularly passionate about. You'll see in the background here, there are lots of dogs here. So I spend a lot of my time photographing dogs. And one of my real big passions is encouraging people to adopt shelter dogs. And by sharing that passion with my audience, I have built up a huge community. And I have generated paying clients from that community because they enjoy the fact that I'm so passionate about going out and helping shelter dogs, and people will buy from me because they actively want to support my business, because they want to support the creative work I do. So it matters, and it matters, it matters to you, it matters to other people, and it matters when it's numbers in your bank account as well, which, we're here for that. We're not just here for fun. And authenticity is a great way of connecting people with us, and we buy from people we feel connected to. So there is a bigger picture at play here. It's not just about go out, sunshine, rainbows, go make whatever you want to make. We're doing it with the objective of being able to build a business on the back of it, which is entirely possible to do. I've built a business photographing dogs, so imagine what's possible for you. Now I'm going to share a little story about authenticity and the impact it's had on my work, and being vulnerable. So I think I'm quite a closed person, really. I don't share lots about my private life online. You'll see lots of my dogs, but I'm not someone who goes around talking about feelings all the time. And I do kind of keep myself Emma quite tucked away. And I put together a series of work called the Black Series. You can see one of them behind me that side, with Nancy the pug. You can just about see it. And I started shooting a series of black rescue dogs against a black background. Like I said, I'm very driven to promoting animal adoption and promoting shelter dogs, and kind of came up with this concept. And I just started a project, and I started working through it, and I started shooting. This is something we'll also come back to, is that you actually have to start a lot of these projects, and sometimes you just have to kind of run with it, not knowing where it's going to go. And I shot the series, and I put it all together, and I was working out how I was going to kind of present it and how I was going to promote it as a series. And my first thought was, well, I'll talk about, black dog syndrome, and, black dogs don't get adopted, and, it's really sad, and, these guys have had a happy ending, but not everybody does. And you know what? We've heard it all before, and we're all fed up of having negative stuff in our news feeds. It doesn't make it shareable. We switch off. So I then started to think, how can I make this a bit more unique so it's fun and gets the message about black dog syndrome out into the world? And from wherever our creative ideas come from, I came up with the concept of having the dog, and there were some cats in there as well, portraits, and then captioning them with a description of the dog or cat like they would describe themselves before they went onto Tinder. So I had a cat who was a member of MI5. I had dogs doing all sorts of strange things, and I put it all together, and I thought, this is quite fun. I've got a bit of a stupid sense of humor, so I thought, this is cool. And I was going to start sharing it online and put it out, and what stopped me was looking at this, and I started to look at it, and I thought, this is really silly. And if I share this with my dog portraits, and that are quite styled and quite artistic, with these captions that are really quite childishly written, no one's going to take me seriously, and people are going to think less of me, and people might think I'm, childish and pathetic and stupid. And I almost didn't share it, but then I kind of pulled myself towards myself, got over it, and thought, you know what, this is me being authentic, this is how I see this series going. I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm just going to see what happens. And what happened was the Black Series went viral around the world. and it got shared on Board Panda, like over 100,000 views. It went into the Daily Mail. Don't normally want to be in the Daily Mail, but my project got into the Daily Mail in the UK. I got a TED talk that I did about authentic creativity. And this lesson, in my own experience with this, really taught me something very valuable, which is why I'm sitting here sharing it with you, that your creative authenticity is so important, because people really relate to it when you're a little bit vulnerable and you go, I'm just going to share a little bit of me in here. I fully believe that had I put that project out with some, this is Nancy, she got adopted from Pug Rescue, blah, 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 nobody would have given it a second thought. They'd have gone, oh, nice pictures, whatever. And it was the combination of the captions and the images and that concept that really made the project. So just know that when you allow a bit of you into your work and you are a little bit vulnerable and a little bit brave, you have no idea what sort of doors it's going to open and where it's going to go. So your homework for today is to list out what work matters to you, the work you really love to make, or if you're just kind of watching this and perhaps you're quite new, you don't know, what would you really love to make? Start journaling, start brainstorming, and start really thinking about what sort of work you would want to be making if there were no limits anywhere, no financial limits, etc., etc. I want you to list out why making this work matters to you. Why would you be doing it? What's the purpose of it? What's the message behind it? Why is it important to you? And then lastly, I want you to think about who this work would resonate with. Who might buy this work? Who might be interested in this work? That should keep you quite busy. I'm going to pop a link in the video description as well to my TEDx talk, so you can watch the talk about black dogs and creativity. Of course, there were dogs in it. Hello. That'll give you a little bit more of a background about why I'm so passionate about what I'm talking about in this mini course. And I would love for you to give me a like here on the videos and drop me a comment once you've listed out your tasks, and give me a comment and let me know how you feel about this. How does it feel to actually think about being more you with the work? How does it feel? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And in the next video, I'm going to be talking to you about developing a creative style, something that's incredibly important and another way that you can stand out. See you soon.